Around the Ozarks in 5, brought to you by Adventure Cave Tours. Live a day in the life of a real adventurer with Adventure Cave Tours. And the Springfield Greene County Park Board, reminding you to go play. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Forhetz.
Hey, good morning to you on Monday. The weekend is over. That's sad. Well, it was a rough weekend for me, but I hope it was a good weekend for you and going to be a great week. So here we go, starting it out on Monday.
It was an awesome weekend. He just happened to get a speeding ticket. But outside of that, it was actually a super great and awesome weekend. So
no, the whole trip to Kansas City was I got a speeding ticket on the way to Kansas City Sunday morning for our soccer games, 2 games, and then we lost the first game and then basically lost the second game. We tied, which we got
to see Lisa Rose.
We were
Things couldn't get better, really.
We saw Lisa. Friday night was good. We saw Lisa.
We'll move on to the news now. A volatile and dangerous scene for Springfield police this weekend. Officers responded to a disturbance call on South Patton Avenue, and apparently some of the criminals, for lack of a better term, I guess they are those actually, they threw things at officers and their car, even breaking out the window of a cruiser, one of the police cruisers. One officer wound up with minor injuries, but did go to the hospital. Police say multiple people ended up arrested after several fights broke out. And don't know a lot more about that, but it was a pretty serious thing for them. Also, several new laws taking effect today in Missouri. We've told you about some of them, but I think the one that we should mention first is the one we talked about last week, which is that nobody, no age, can text and drive in Missouri anymore. You cannot be scrolling on your cell phone at all. So 0 scrolling on your phone while moving. Also, Missouri is banning gender-affirming care for minors.
You want me to pick that up? Children under the age of 18 can no longer access puberty blockers, hormones, and sex change surgeries. The government, through Medicaid, will no longer pay for those types of treatments for adults either, and state prisons can no longer provide them. Doctors who break the law could be sued and lose their license to practice. Also in Missouri, for senior citizens, you can now get a property tax credit. This is for people who are eligible for Social Security retirement, those who own a home, and those who are liable for payment of real estate property taxes on that home. It's a welcome break for seniors on their property taxes because most seniors fixed incomes, and this helps with that.
Also, as of today, transgender youth athletes in Missouri will be required to compete in sports that align with their gender at birth if you're going to be on a team. This is for both public and private schools. Also, it applies to any public or private university or college across the state. All right, Medicaid coverage is expanding today for new moms. New moms are eligible for a full year of healthcare coverage, up from 2 months. It used to be 60 days worth of care for most states. In fact, health officials say this change could help thousands of women that would otherwise go uninsured only 2 months after giving birth.
Okay. Also, we're not finished yet with new laws going into effect. The law redefines a first responder today, or doesn't redefine it, but it adds to the definition. 911 dispatchers are now considered first responders instead of clerical workers like in the past. That new distinction opens up services that were only available to police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical workers previously. So now added to that list are 911 dispatchers.
Yeah, so lots of new laws. This is just like a few of a long and lengthy list. We just picked some of the ones that are kind of highlights, some that we've touched on before. Today's the day, August 28th. So there you go. All right, this is cool. Mark your calendars for Wednesday night. We could get a glimpse of a rare blue supermoon. Scientists suspect it will be our biggest and brightest moon of the year, which will be a sight to see. The blue supermoon can be seen Wednesday night around 9:36 p.m. That is the peak time. Obviously, you can see the moon for more than that 1 minute. But that's said to be the peak time for this Central Standard Time. And the moon is going to be brighter and about 7% larger than it typically is or typically appears. Saturn will also be especially bright that night. And you've all heard the expression once in a blue moon. I actually say that a lot. I recognized it when I was writing this story. This is where that comes from because it's a rare occurrence. So once in a blue moon, and now you know why.
Yeah, we say it because our grandparents used to say it. It just is passed down as a part of our dialogue. That's it. Blue moon on Wednesday, and that is pretty rare. Okay, of course you know him from The Price is Right. He's a Springfield favorite. 99-year-old Bob Barker has passed away. Of course, he has very strong ties to Springfield. Graduated from Central High School, Drury College back in the day. He left Springfield for California to make his dreams come true, and boy, did he. And he what a long career doing that game show, and he did such a good job with it. I think everybody loves Bob Barker. He was big on spaying and neutering pets.
I remember him saying that at the end of all his shows.
At the end of he was one of the first to really kind of have push a social consciousness type of message very early on. It was back in the maybe 70s it started, but I know 80s.
I read, I think it was in the News Leader, that he left in the 40s. He left Springfield in the 40s.
Yeah. And
I thought, no, that surely it wasn't that early. But then I'm like, well, he's 99, so it makes sense. But
yeah,
it's pretty crazy, isn't it?
He's had a wild, great life. Sounds like.
Yep. Okay, well, we all know that a Springfield favorite is cashew chicken. Now there's another place to get it. So add this to the list. It's called Lucky Time, a new restaurant in downtown Springfield. Apparently it's been open in Fair Grove for the last few years, and now they are expanding to Springfield at Walnut and Jefferson.
Super cool.
Yeah, I prefer orange chicken, spicy chicken, over cashew chicken. But I like cashews and I like chicken. I just don't like them together.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Fair Grove people will be able to tell us all about it. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And while I was having a terrible Sunday, you and our oldest daughter were having a pretty good Sunday. Tell everybody what you did.
It was great. No, we had a triathlon and which is swimming, biking, running in that order. And I was so incredibly proud of Caroline, our oldest. She's 14, because she was racing as an adult, which this is her second time to do that. But this one was double the distance of the last one. Yeah. And then some of my triathlon friends were like, what in the world? Why are you starting her on this particular race? Because it's super crazy hilly. If you live in that area in Willard, you know what I'm talking about. It's Farm Road 105. And it's my friend from the bike shop, Bicycle Outlet, Tim, he says it's like ribbons of asphalt to heaven. And sure enough, when you're at the bottom of it and you just look up, like it goes and it looks like it's going all the way to heaven. Anyway, she made it.
Sounds more like a hell to me.
Yeah. No.
This is, there she is.
She's so cute. Isn't she so cute? She's
on Sarah's Sarah's Instagram page. That's our oldest daughter. She won her age group, right? Number 1.
Yeah, she was number 1.
Was she fourth
and she
overall?
also did really well overall. Yeah, I was like, wow, how in the world did she end up? Her bicycle pace was really good, really, really good. So.
And how did you do?
Babes, I won. You just wanted to say that so bad.
Of course you did.
I tell Ethan I'm a trophy wife.
You won overall?
Listen, I'm a trophy wife. I'm 10 years younger. I'm always going to be 10 years younger.
Overall female, you won?
I did. Yeah. But Allison Hubbard Deckard wasn't there. So, if she would have been there, she would have smoked me. So really it's like, who's going to show up today? Allison slept in. She probably was working. But
hey, take the trophy and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super proud of Caroline too, because her knee's been hurting and she was able to swim and bike and run and finish.
Push through.
Did very well.
I lectured her the whole way home. I'm like, listen, the grit that you show out here is the same grit that will get you through law school or med school or when you have to wake up at 3:00 in the morning for 17 years to a morning shift, it's the same thing, the same grit. It really is. And she was looking at me like, please. But I feel like it's not about the race. It's truly about the discipline of pushing through when you want to quit. Trust me, I used to give my interns the same spiel. But anyone who's ever had to push through something that was really unpleasant knows that.
Well, and even more impressive this time around was you did it without your support crew. This guy.
My support crew was staying in Kansas City, so
I was driving to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And had a crappy day.
Yeah.
All right.
Poor guy.
It's Monday, so let's do this.
It's gonna be great.
Day.
You guys, it's gonna be a great week. Woo! Don't text and drive though. Don't do it. You'll get pulled over.
Although, wait a minute. Didn't you say last week that
it's a warning period? Yes, it's a warning period.
They're not giving tickets for a year?
That is true. That is what they said. But I'm just telling you that it's a warning period, and I don't want to be pulled over for breaking the rules. I mean, people get pulled over. It happens, right? But I don't want that to be me. So I'm actually going to make sure that I'm following the rule. I've already told you my story. I don't text and drive anymore. That after I almost ran off the road in a company car by the FedMed. It scared me straight for the rest of my days. So,
that's good.
All right.
That's good.
Enough.
All right.
That's neither here nor there.
I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather. Here's your host, Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to the new week. I have fantastic news for you today because the weather just couldn't be much better. We've got that cool, calm, crisp feeling in the air this morning. It's near 60 degrees early on this Monday. We're going to warm up into the 80s, but overall things are looking great for us, at least for the first part of the week. And then some of that heat and humidity that we were dealing with last week, it might inch back in, but it won't be as bad as last week. Hard to be as bad as last week. That was awful, wasn't it? We're seeing cooler temperatures. It's much more comfortable. You can actually get outside several different days this week. What we need, though, is some rainfall. We had a little bit over the weekend, but we could really use some more. And I don't have much coming our direction in this extended forecast. So that's the one bad thing. This is not going to be a good week for the drought monitor. I think we'll see conditions worsen in a lot of places over the extended forecast. Today, though, fabulous to start the new week. You can get outside today. In fact, this is the pick day of the week. Monday, the best one in my extended forecast. I have sunshine. You're looking at 83 degrees this afternoon. We've already got a northeast breeze. It's not going to be too strong today, but I do have a nice little northeast breeze keeping things cool. We've got the lower relative humidity. It's just all good news here to start the new week. The weather setup, well, it looks like we're going to see calm weather here in the Midwest, while all the action is going to be focused on the coast this week. Of course, eyes on a potential hurricane down in Florida. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. But there's also a frontal boundary down all the way from Texas back through much of the southeast, and it's already providing rain chances. So they're getting rain now to start the week, and then potentially dealing with tropical moisture by the middle of the week. So a soaker for the southeastern portion of the country this week. We are going to see dry conditions and heat that builds back into the forecast as we kind of inch through this day by day. I see that big ridge of high pressure scooting back over to the Midwest. So we will see our temperatures respond to that. We'll get back into the 90s this week, and it's that big heat dome. The same one that we were dealing with last week. It strengthens again. Looks like it sets up over much of the center part of the country again for the early part of September. That is going to keep the heat and the humidity going to start the week. And it also cuts our rain chances off. So the Climate Prediction Center issues these long range forecasts. And when I look out the September 3rd through September 9th timeframe, looks like the heat is back in full force and not much in the way of rainfall for the Ozarks. It means if you're thinking about closing the pool for Labor Day, you may want to rethink, because I think the heat's going to stick around at least a couple of weeks. September looking like it will end up being probably a little bit above average temperature-wise. Hot and sunny then for the Labor Day weekend. The 90s are back. Big lake weekend, big pool weekend. big river weekend in the Ozarks, and I think this year is going to agree with that. We have a lot of conditions that are going to be setting up for a nice weekend across the region, but a hot one with temperatures back into the 90s and a whole lot of sunshine. So you can't beat it. Today, the best day of the week, as I mentioned, 83, my forecast for the high temperature. Tonight, once again, we'll see a low temp near 60. So really comfortable mornings and evenings. Fantastic. Nothing but sunny skies in the forecast this week. I don't have any major weather systems that will impact us here in the Ozarks. The big talker is down in Florida. So if you have any friends or family or you yourself are planning to vacation, the Florida Panhandle, the West Coast, look to be impacted by this tropical storm that developed over the weekend. Idalia formed over the weekend out in the Gulf. And I'm sure you've heard some of the headlines across the country. The waters in the Gulf are ridiculously hot. I mean, they are insanely warm, which is not good news for hurricane season because it means that storms that form out there or at least move into the Gulf, well, the warm water actually helps them strengthen. So we are expecting some pretty major strengthening out of Idalia, and it could potentially be a hurricane by the time it makes landfall this week, probably the Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe in Florida. So this one will impact the United States, but it's not just Florida. It's going to impact Florida first. Of course, that's where we make landfall. And then it'll probably be moving up through Georgia, the Carolinas, and much of the East Coast, dumping a lot of rain. We're talking widespread areas, seeing about 5 inches of rain. Of course, the coastal flooding will be a concern, but also places that have the front that's set up early this week, they're already getting this rain, and then they're looking at a tropical system to move in for midweek. So all eyes on Florida. We hope it doesn't strengthen too fast, but my fear is that the water's really warm. So I would not be surprised to see this once tropical storm strengthen, make itself to a hurricane, hopefully a low-end one as we are looking to kind of see that impact the United States as we head closer to the middle of the week. So I'll be updating you on that this week as well. It is time for the Wake Up Weather Brain Twister question. This is the question that I left you with last week. Which state's citizens speak the quickest? And the options that I gave you were A, Iowa, B, Massachusetts, C, Minnesota, or D, Oregon. I saw a lot of folks taking a guess. I actually saw a lot of people guessing A, Iowa, and a lot of guesses for B, Massachusetts. I think that's kind of the stereotype for the Northeast, that they talk quickly. Northerners definitely talk quicker than Southerners. We can all agree on that. However, the correct answer is C, Minnesota. And there's some conflicting information out there. I looked at several different sources. Many sources also say that Oregon has the quickest speaking citizens, which pretty much no one guessed. But C, Minnesota is the source that I'm going with. This is actually from a study from Good Day, Utah, and it seemed pretty scientific. So they took all of these YouTube videos and instructional videos that were developed in different states and actually broke it down into syllables per second with how quickly folks spoke. And Minnesota took the number one spot in this particular study at 5.34 syllables per second. A very close second was Oregon at 5.33. So fast talkers, Minnesota and Oregon. I myself have been accused of being a fast talker. Not unrightfully. I am a fast talker. And I lived in Minnesota, fun fact, as a small child. So maybe that's where I got it from. But Minnesota, fastest talkers, Oregon, a second. And some of the other key findings from the study that I thought were kind of interesting. The United States city with the fastest average rate is Portland, Oregon at 5.38 syllables per second. And the United States city with the slowest average speech rate is Peoria, Illinois. Some slow talkers. If you know anybody in Peoria, not too far away, only 4.71 syllables per second. So that is some slow talking. A lot of the southern states were also on the slow talker rate, and some of the top 10 of the fastest talking states, of course, Minnesota. We also have several others from the Midwest, not Missouri, not Arkansas, but Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska all have pretty fast talkers. Interesting. Not just known for agriculture, also known for talking fast. We got to get it out. Got to get that done. All right. I will leave you with the weather quiz question for tomorrow morning. This one, cotton candy is called what in France? Do you think it is A, fairy floss, B, candy floss, C, Santa's beard, or D, dad's beard? Let me know what you think. You can do that over on the Around the Ozarks Facebook page. Thank you for listening this morning. Get outside today at some point. It is just going to be too nice to miss out. If you need weather throughout the day, make sure you check out aroundtheozarks.com. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather podcast. You can do that anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Enjoy the day. We will chat again early tomorrow morning.